And so the first reason um, why I quit was I was afraid of what other people would think. And of course, when you take on a task or tackle something, especially if it's going to be something public, a lot of times that's one of the first thoughts that come to mind. What are people going to think? What are my friends going to say? What are the people know me going to say? How are they going to judge me? How am I going to sound? What if I fail at this? What if I record this, I put this information out there and I tank or I sound horrible? And this is like, part of the self-sabotage that we overanalyze a lot of times and overthink. And it causes us to quit or it causes us to kill progress. And that's what, self-sabotage does. It causes you to basically destroy progress, and it keeps you from moving forward. And this was one of the first thoughts that came to mind, and why I was afraid. What are people going to think? But to overcome that, I would say, you have to not worry about what people think, right? You can't allow yourself to be overcome with what people think about you, because when you think about it, guess what? It doesn't matter what people think about you, because the people that like you, they're going to like you. The people that don't, they're either not going to say anything or they'll just be silent. So again, it doesn't matter. But a lot of times when we start projects and when we start things, this is one of the things that kills our drive, is that we worry about what others think about us. And when it all boils down to it, and the truth be told, it really doesn't matter. So to you out there that are starting fresh, starting new podcast, starting whatever it is, your new venture, don't allow what you feel people are going to think about you cause you to quit. And this is what happened to me. This is what I ran into. And again, this was in 2004. So this is 10 years. I'm 10 years past that, of course. But look how long it took, for me to even start. Now, I started 24-Hour Boss, I believe it was like about 3 years ago, something like that. But imagine how far I would be had I started in 2014. Imagine how far I would be if I had started then, if I had not allowed what people think to cause me to quit. So don't allow this to cause you to quit, and don't worry about what people think about you, because when it all comes down to it, it really doesn't matter. Focus on the value that you want to provide and your purpose, and that will allow you to keep moving forward. Second reason why I quit was after listening back to the recorded audio of myself, of the first episode that I recorded. I didn't like how I sound. And this, of course, is like a mirror moment where we are too critical of ourselves, right? We don't like how we look in the mirror. We take pictures and don't like how I look. And actually, when you think about it, like taking pictures, nothing about us is perfect, right? Nothing about us is perfect. Like our face, one side, if you look at your face in the mirror, one side is probably different than the other. If you look at your hair grade, I know for myself, my hair grade, one side of my hair is different than the other. And you can find a whole lot of imperfections on you when you really look at it. But when you think about it, none of us are alike. All of us are unique. And this is actually how God made us. Everybody's voice is different. Everybody sounds different. We all have different fingerprints. So this is something that uniquely categorize us. It's a unique trait that we have. And so we can't be overcritical of what we sound like. And a lot of times we're trying to compare ourselves to others because we look at maybe, and for myself, I was looking at how, podcasters that I listened to, how their voice sounded. They sounded so perfect. They sounded, so natural. And when I listen to our voice, it's like, I don't like how it sounds. It's like I sound creepy. And, and we come up with all of these negatives of what we sound like. And when you think about it, when it all boils down to it, nobody notices our imperfection. Nobody notices the squeals, the squeak, whatever you think about your voice or what you look like. Nobody notices that but us. And so This is a way of us just, again, self-sabotaging ourselves and eliminating progress, because we're looking at how imperfect we sound, how you know, our voice sounds. You know, my voice doesn't sound like this. And again, our voices are unique. Nobody's going to sound like, and that's great. That's a good thing, because why do you want to sound like somebody else? Why not be yourself? And this is actually how you overcome these thoughts. Embrace and appreciate what you sound like, what you look like, because you are like no one else. Your voice is not like anyone else. And had I thought about this, and had I really appreciated my voice and what I sounded like, and it just embraced, my imperfections, I would have probably not quit back then. But this is how you overcome that. You just embrace what you sound like. You appreciate what you look like, because this is how God made you. God didn't want you to sound like everybody else. Your voice is unique, and that's the voice that God gave you. So appreciate who you are. Don't uh, don't allow yourself to be caught up in trying to sound perfect or overanalyze what you sound like, what you look like. Your voice is important, and the world needs to hear your voice. The world needs to see you as your authentic self. And so that's how you can overcome that. Just appreciate who you are. Appreciate what you sound like. Just knowing that, you know what, I'm not going to sound like somebody else, and, that's just one of those things. So just appreciate who you are, what you sound like, and you'll be able to get a lot further down the road if you think of it in those terms, you know, and not overanalyze how you sound, how you look, all those type of things. Because when we think about it, yeah, there are a lot of things we don't like about ourselves, but there's a lot of things that other people love about us. Okay, and so just appreciate yourself and embrace your imperfections, and speak your voice, speak whatever it is that God has given you to say to the world. And I guarantee you, people are going to appreciate it and love you for who you are. So just embrace it. Okay, so the last thing that caused me to be overcome with fear after hearing that first episode of recording was that I thought I needed to be perfect. I thought I needed to sound perfect. You know, listening to myself, I noticed that there's a whole lot of filler words that I'm using, the uhs and the ahs and the and all of these type of things. And if you concentrate and just look at those things, or just dwell on those things, there's probably a whole lot of those that you use, right? But guess what? None of us are perfect. And trying to strive for perfection, what 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 happened to me was it caused me to spend a whole lot of time trying to edit and pull out all those filler words. Do you know how much time it takes to edit material when you're trying to pull out all the imperfections, trying to pull out all the uhs, all the ums, and all of those type of things? When it when it all when it again when it all comes what it all comes down to is that a lot of that really doesn't matter. Remember, this is all about you being yourself, right? And the truth be told, when you first start something, yeah, you know what, sometimes you may make some mistakes, you may mess up, you may misspeak, or the words may not come out like you want them to come out, but that's okay, because you'll grow and learn from that as you progress on. And that's one of the things that you can look back on. When you upload maybe your first video or your first episode, you can look back on where you've grown 10 episodes down the road. So, we don't start out at level 10. None of us do. So we got to understand and realize that we won't be perfect. We won't look perfect. We won't sound perfect, but we can learn. We can improve ourselves. But that was one of the problems that I was faced with. I was trying to sound perfect. I thought I had to sound perfect, because again, when I listen to all these other podcasters, they sound so perfect. Their voices is great. They're amazing. They do all these type of things, but they've been doing it for some years. So after you get some experience under your belt, you know what? You'll start to sound better too. You'll start to improve yourself as well. But don't strive to try to be perfect. Remember, when you show up on camera or on audio and all that, people want to see you for who you are. Again, don't try to compare yourself to others, trying to be like someone else. Be yourself. And that's what's going to help carry you down the road. Remembering your purpose, remembering your why you're doing this, and not trying to be perfect. And that was my problem. That's what I ran into. And that's why I quit. That's why uh, I just kind of bagged it up. I thought that, well, at the time in 2004, I'm sorry, 2014, I thought at the time that, well, I'll just try to improve myself and or get better at this, and then I'll come back to it. But you know what? That never came. I mean, again, we're looking at 10 years down the road where I said I was going to do it, but I listened to it and I became afraid of what people were going to say. I didn't like how I sounded, and I was trying to be perfect. And none of those things are true. If you dwell on those things will hinder your progress in anything you're trying to do. So, in order to overcome perfection, one of the things you got to understand and embrace is that we're not going to be perfect. The other thing that you can do to overcome perfectionism is practice, right? So if there's something that you want to do and you want to sound better at it, guess what? It's okay for you to review, make notes. As a matter of fact, I got notes right now for this video that I'm doing, right? So you make notes of those things and you practice what it is you want to say. And you'll find that doing these things, it'll help you to overcome perfectionism, right? Understanding that I won't be perfect. It's okay that I make mistakes, but it's also okay that I learn and grow from those mistakes, right? And so sometimes you just got to embrace that, right? Knowing that I won't be perfect, but you can practice and work on to improve yourself. And lastly, don't compare yourself. In perfectionism, don't compare yourself to others, right? Don't try to compare yourself to others, because remember, you're probably talking about somebody that's got 10 years of experience versus you just starting. So never try to compare yourself to others. And another thing I'll add is that now, they have apps where you can remove those filler words, those ums and uhs. You can remove those words if you choose to. But this is one of the reasons why I like to go live, because during lives, I don't have to worry about editing. I don't have to worry about trying to remove the ums and the uhs, all those filler words. I just show up as myself, and that's okay. But at the same time, I do want to improve and try to perfect my craft as much as I can. So just understand that these type of things, these three things that I listed, these are things I know people deal with, but this is what I dealt with, and I know this is what hindered my progress and hindered me from moving forward in creating a podcast. So I don't want somebody else to run into these same type of things, because I know these are things that people deal with. And again, it's all part of that umbrella under self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, fear, all of those type of things, right? So if you got some value out of this video, I want you to go ahead and like this video. Also, if you deal with imposter syndrome or even self-sabotage, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. If you're not a subscriber to this channel, please subscribe. Or I ask you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because you'll get notified when we go live or when we upload another amazing video just like this one. I want to say that I appreciate you all for watching this video. Thanks again, and we'll see you all in the next video. Have a blessed weekend and a blessed week.